Hello, my name is Jennifer. I am a dietitian with Atrium Health Levine Cancer, and this presentation has been put together for caregivers who want to keep themselves well nourished while caring for others. When caring for others, it can be difficult to take time to prioritize your own needs, but self-care isn't selfish, not at all. As the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. So when you take care of yourself, you'll have the energy and the strength you need to care for others. Here are 5 tips for keeping yourself well nourished while taking care of others. Ask for or accept help when it's offered. Your community, family, and friends probably do really want to help. And if you don't want to accept something that they make, you could always ask them to pick some things up for you at the grocery store. Have a plan and make a list. I think we always eat a little bit healthier when we kind of have an idea of some things that we might be able to choose. If we don't have a plan or a list, then that's when we end up running into, I don't know what I want, and here are these crackers, and so maybe I'll just have crackers for dinner. If you've made a list and you have lots of things on hand, but you just don't have the energy to think about it, going to your list and saying, oh yeah, I do have these items in my refrigerator or my pantry. They're just as easy to grab as a pack of crackers. You'll make better decisions in no time. Keep it simple. Thinking of the whole dinner as a whole can sometimes feel overwhelming. What am I going to have for my entree and my side dishes? And I need a vegetable and a bread and a fruit and a milk. So think about what you have and then what you can add. And then just do the best you can. Start with one category at a time. This is what a typical healthy diet would look like as far as balance goes. So about 25% of your plate should be taken up by a protein and another 25% by grains, and then half from the fruits and vegetable categories. And then you can also have dairy on the side. So think about what you have. Again, maybe you have tuna casserole left over from the night before. So the tuna in there would be your protein, and the noodles in that casserole would be in the grain category. And so now all you have to do is just think about what kind of vegetables and fruits you might want to add. And maybe that's as simple as grabbing some frozen broccoli out of the freezer, or opening a can of green beans, or quickly peeling a mandarin orange or a banana. Maybe top it with a little bit of yogurt for your dairy choice. If you just think about it, again, one category at a time, what you have and what you can add can really help keep it simple. It can really be time-saving to cook once and use the food several times. But when you do this, you want to think about making makeovers, not leftovers. Leftovers kind of give that vibe of, oh, I'm eating this same thing again and again. So think about makeovers rather than leftovers. What can help here is to season minimally the first time and then add other flavors later. So, for example, if you and the person you're caring for have different sodium allowances, if you bake the, let's say, chicken with minimal amounts of salt added, the person who has a little bit more liberal allowance on their sodium can always salt a little bit more at the table. It's always easier to add than to subtract. Also, too, you can think about having the same food or ingredient but used in different ways. So let's say you bake chicken and one night you want to use it in a Mexican recipe and another one in a Mediterranean recipe. If you've cooked it up pretty plain the first time around, it's as easy as adding cumin and garlic for the Mexican meal and lemon, thyme, and oregano for the Mediterranean inspired dish. So keeping it simple the first time around can really help it be made over a lot more easily. Also, to think about what foods taste great left over. So, staying with the chicken idea, I always think that chicken tastes best the first night it's baked. When it comes out of the oven, it's just really still juicy and moist and flavorful. And if I have to reheat that a million times, it starts getting really dry and tough and it changes the texture and the flavor to me. So, if I want to use chicken that was made beforehand, that's when it's really nice to maybe slice some up and put it in the refrigerator and serve it cold on top of a salad. And or it does reheat really nicely when put into a soup. So let's say I baked chicken one night and had it hot right out of the oven for one meal. The second meal I had cold on a salad, and then when I was ready to have a bowl of soup, maybe put it into my soup recipe. And that would be using the exact same chicken I cooked once in several different ways that were unique and still delicious with time. Here you also might want to think about what ingredients you could swap. That would just be one easy little swap, but make a huge difference. So you might think about it for better nutrients, or you could be just thinking about it because what lasts longer for better taste or texture, or stands up to reheating a bit better. And one thing I'm thinking about here is a pasta salad I used to make with pasta. And if I made a big batch so it would last me for several days, by the time I was down to my last day of it, it was hard work to get that pasta salad eaten. The pasta had become more and more mushy each day as it sucked out all of that sauce it was sitting in, all of that salad dressing. And so it was really dry and mushy by the time I ate the last serving versus compared to the first serving. But I've learned to really just swap that pasta out with sorghum. Sorghum is a grain that really holds up, stands the test of time. It can sit in that bowl of salad dressing and not get mushy and also to not suck up all the sauce. But sorghum is also high in protein and fiber and has a whole other nutrient profile than pasta made with white flour. So sorghum's a more nutritious choice as well. It does take longer to cook, but you can cook it in the slow cooker, or sometimes I'll also just kind of put it on the stove to cook on its own while I'm going to be in the kitchen anyway, doing dishes or cleaning up from dinner. Try sorghum or barley or farro. There's all kinds of different whole grains you might be able to swap in your pasta salad or soup recipes so that you won't just end up with, let's say, chicken and noodles instead of chicken noodle soup by the time you finish that big batch of soup you just made. If those whole grains are intimidating or take too long to cook, or you just can't find them, you can also swap things like pasta for things that are different, again, like beans and potatoes, or just be creative. There's all kinds of different ideas out there. And sometimes making a swap just with one little ingredient makes a huge difference in how long you can enjoy the makeovers or leftovers. And tip number 5 is to go for hands-off or low-watch cooking methods. My oven is my best friend in this regard, and so is the slow cooker. When you cook something on the stovetop, you have to monitor it almost constantly. If you have something boiling or frying and then the doorbell rings or somebody needs you, then it's just moments before the item overcooks or burns or actually could catch the house on fire. But the oven is much more forgiving, as is the slow cooker. I love just chopping up all of my vegetables and tossing them with a little bit of oil and throwing them in the oven. And my oven actually has a timer on it where it will go off on its own. So if I did get caught up in something else, my oven will still turn off at the 30-minute timer I set it on. You can roast your meats and your vegetables many times on the same tray. And for easy cleanup, I will usually line my cookie sheet with parchment paper. I just toss all of that in oil and spices, and it almost always just turns out perfect every single time. It's very, very forgiving. If I check it and it's not quite done, then I can always reset the timer to go a little bit longer. But think about what you can put in the oven, a slow cooker, or even a air fryer or toaster oven for these lower watch or more hands-off approaches to cooking. It'll save you a ton of time and worry. I hope one or all of these 5 tips will give you some ideas for easy ways to keep yourself well nourished while caring for others. If you're interested in learning more about cooking ideas, we have all kinds of no-cost nutrition classes available to you through Levine Cancer. Please find us on our website and register today. And we thank you so much for all you do. Caring for someone else is such important work. I know it's not always easy, but it's very much appreciated and very, very valuable. Warm regards.
Thanks for watching. For more information, visit us online, send us an email, or give us a call. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are released. And most of all, be well.